People always say trust your gut, but what if your gut is twisted up with morning sickness, tangled emotions, and the overwhelming realization that you're pregnant and the father is one of a pair of identical twins, and you have no idea which one? Let me take you back a few months. Before the nausea, before the missed period, before the secret that now hangs heavy between three people who were just supposed to have fun. I'm 21, a junior, at university, studying event management. I'm organized, detail-obsessed, and usually in full control of my life. I pride myself on being practical, logical, never the girl who lets her heart tangle with drama. Until I met them, Jace and Jordan, identical twins. I didn't even want to go to that rooftop party at the Sigma house. My roommate dragged me out, claiming I needed a night of chaos to shake the boring out of me. I had no idea how prophetic that would be. They walked in like a mirror splitting in two. Dark curls, light eyes, matching smirks. But their energies? Totally different. Jace leaned against the wall near the keg, sipping from a red cup with a lazy kind of confidence. Jordan danced like he owned the floor. I couldn't stop staring. Turns out they noticed. At some point, I found myself between them, literally. One on my left, one on my right. They teased each other, teased me, and it felt electric. I couldn't tell if I was flirting with one or both, and maybe I didn't care. We played some dumb drinking game on the roof. Questions turned into dares. A kiss turned into two. I remember one of them behind me, arms around my waist. I whispered, "Jace?" He laughed.
Does it matter?
Maybe it should have. But in the haze of cheap wine and temptation, I didn't push. We went back to my dorm. Now? I'm not so sure. At first it was just a late period. Then the nausea kicked in, then the sore boobs. I took the test because I knew something was off. That second pink line stared up at me like a cosmic joke. I froze. Me, pregnant, after one wild night? I reached out to both of them. I didn't know what else to do. They showed up together like they always do. Same serious eyes, same way of shoving their hands in their hoodie pockets when they're uncomfortable. Jordan was the first to speak.
Okay, so what do you need from us?
I stared at them. I need to know which of you was with me that night. Neither answered. Looking at each other, then back at me. And that's when I knew. They both knew what I didn't. One of them had spent the night with me, but they weren't going to make it easy. Or maybe they couldn't. I wish I could say it got simpler after that, but life doesn't hand you clear answers just because you're crying on your dorm bathroom floor. They both showed up to my first appointment at the campus clinic. Jordan brought ginger candies, Jace brought a playlist for the walkover. My student OB asked if the father was coming. I said yes. I didn't say it might be either of the two guys sitting awkwardly side by side in the waiting room. Jordan came to my dorm room that night. He didn't say why. Maybe he didn't know himself, but the silence between us had gotten too loud to ignore.
I just wanted to check in. You looked distant today.
It's hard to focus when you're the only one without our answers.
Maybe I was scared to find out. Maybe I still am.
I get that. But it's harder not knowing. Not because of the baby, because of what it's doing to us.
If it's not me, will that mean I don't get to love them the way I already do?
It just means you'll love them in a different way. And maybe I'll love you in a different way too.
Then I'll wait, however long it takes to figure that out.
Every time I look at them, my heart does this terrible twist, because I'm falling for both of them. Jordan is fire, passion. He texts me at 2 a.m. with wild dreams of backpacking across Europe. Jace is calm, steady. He brings me soup from the cafeteria and listens when I ramble about baby names. I want to know. I need to know. But prenatal paternity tests are risky this early. I could wait until the baby is born, but what do I do in the meantime? Pretend I'm in a twisted campus rom-com? Last week, I asked them point blank. Why won't either of you tell me who it was?
Because we both care, and we don't want to ruin this for you and for the baby.
We made a stupid mistake that night, but this baby, it's not a mistake. It's real, and we're here, no matter what.
Tears burned my eyes. Because that's the time I believe them. I believe they both mean it. So now I'm navigating prenatal yoga with two overprotective college guys who take turns walking me to class, cooking for me in their dorm kitchens, and texting each other notes about my cravings. I'm watching them step into fatherhood without knowing which one will actually carry the title. And me? I'm preparing to be a mom. But I'm also preparing for the moment when the truth will finally come out. Because it always does. And I don't know if that truth will bring us closer or tear everything apart. My roommate had been patient. Too patient. But after days of my silence, she finally asked the questions I'd been trying not to hear out loud.
You've got that spiraling internally in silence face again.
Don't I always?
This thing with the twins, it's romantic and tragic and intense, but is it real?
I think it is, but sometimes I wish it weren't. Would make things simpler.
You think love clears things up? Nah, love fogs the windshield and makes you drive faster.
So what do I do?
Hold the wheel steady, and don't crash just because the road's weird.
The day I hit 20 weeks, I cried over oatmeal. Not because it tasted bad, Jace made it with brown sugar and cinnamon just the way I like it, but because Jordan forgot to stir the almond butter in, and I suddenly couldn't take the weight of everything anymore. Hormones, sure, but also the crushing pressure of carrying a life inside me while carrying a secret none of us could keep pretending wasn't there. I needed answers. That night, after they left, I sat on the edge of my twin dorm bed, feeling those faint little flutters and wondering if this baby would grow up asking me the one question I still didn't know how to answer. Who's my dad? So I made the call, scheduled the test. A non-invasive prenatal paternity test, expensive as hell, but safe and necessary. I told them both at once. This limbo is killing me. I need to know. And so does this baby. They didn't argue. They just looked at each other with that strange twin language silence they always have.
Okay, let's do it.
The next few days dragged like a dream you can't wake from. We went to the clinic together. I watched them both get swabbed, watched the nurse draw a vial of my blood, and I kept my hands folded tightly in my lap the entire time, like it might keep me from unraveling. Then we waited. One cool evening, Jace walked me home in silence, and for the first time, he let the quiet break open.
I keep wondering what kind of father I'd be, what kind of man.
I keep wondering if I'm allowed to hope for one of you more than the other.
I think you're allowed. Hope doesn't mean cruelty, it just means honesty.
So what are you hoping for?
That it's me. But even if it's not, I'm still yours to lean on.
I don't know how to do this.
Neither do I, but I'd rather learn beside you than watch from far away.
I thought maybe I would feel relief. But instead, my chest felt heavy every time I imagined one of them being ruled out. Would he still be around? Would Jay step up with that steady smile and quiet devotion? Or would the results pull them both away from me? Worst, what if it was Jordan and Jace disappeared? What if the one I was starting to love didn't turn out to be the father? Yeah, starting to love. That's the other secret. Somewhere along the way, it stopped being about just the baby. Somewhere in the waiting rooms and late night calls, I fell in love with Jace. And I think I wanted it to be him. I hated myself for that. That Tuesday night, I couldn't sleep. I was alone. I had told them I'd tell them after, privately. I stared at the ceiling tiles of my dorm for a long time. Just lost in thought. I think now I know who's responsible. The next morning, I dialed Jordan's number. He answered on the first ring. It's Jace. He's the father. There was a silence. Not long, but heavy.
Okay, that's okay.
I could hear the heartbreak in his voice, even though he tried to hide it.
I'm still here. I'm not disappearing. This baby might not be mine by blood, but I love them already.
I love as you said that.
And I meant it.
Then I called Jace. He didn't say anything at first, just breathed out like he'd been holding it in for weeks.
I kinda hoped it was me.
Yeah, me too. Things changed after that. The tension that had been stretching between the three of us finally snapped, but instead of falling apart, it settled. Jordan pulled back, but not completely. He still came by, still sent me dumb memes when I had insomnia, and once even brought over prenatal vitamins when I ran out. He was uncle mode now, and he slipped into the role like it was tailor-made. Jace, though? He stepped up like I didn't even know he could. He found a little off-campus studio apartment 5 minutes from the dorms. He started painting the nursery with me on weekends. He kissed my forehead when I got overwhelmed and pressed his hand to my belly like it was a prayer. One night, in the softest voice, he said,
I wanna try this, not just parenting, but us, if you want it too.
And I did. Now I'm 35 weeks. Baby's almost here. And every time I feel a kick, I wonder who they'll look like. If they'll have Jace's steady gaze or Jordan's fierce laugh. If they'll ever understand how complicated and beautiful their beginning really was. Because, yes, 2 identical college twins got me pregnant, but only one gave me a child. And somehow, I got something even bigger out of it. A family I never saw coming. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment for more inspiring stories and content.